poppers back together. Oh, maybe back in '93, I think it was.
Yeah.
And Ray Polance was with us at that time, and Ray had some medical problems, and we sort of had to borrow different musicians until he got well. And then at that time, Donnie Wojtyla drafted me, so to speak, for about a year.
Well, who was all on that CD? I mean, that cassette.
Oh,
besides yourself.
That was Ray Polance, myself, Dick Fleischman, Ronnie Sluga, and Hank Gazelle. On the Polka Popper one.
Yeah.
On the one I did with Donnie, we had Ralph Delicati, Donnie Wojtyla, Danny Wojtyla, Ronnie Sluga, myself. Christine Hibbs was singing the vocals. And that was a good album. I was proud of that album. It was a copy album. We did things from Kenny Bass back when he was using the Kendall sisters yet.
Oh, yeah.
Dolly and Polly Kendall.
Well, one of them is gone, isn't it? Isn't she?
No.
They're both still alive?
They're both still going. One's here in the Cleveland area, and the other one I remember is
She's
somewhere
in Nashville.
Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, yeah, I thought she did some stuff out of Nashville.
She may have, but residing-wise, I think one's out in Atlanta area and the other one's out on the west side of Cleveland.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
We had the premiere, and we managed to locate the one sister whose last name now is Popovich.
Any relation to Steve?
Not at all, as far as I know. We had a chance to chat for a while, and she was kind of thrilled with the fact that we sort of dug up some of the old things that her and her sister did back in the Bass days. I would venture to say probably early 50s. And one of the reasons that we wanted to do this is we had Christine as a vocalist, who is probably one of the finest female vocalists working with a polka type band at this point. And these tunes were never released on even a cassette. They were going back to either the 33s or even the 78s in some cases, but 33 and a third records is the last renditions of some of these songs that were, in my opinion, classics. And I figured we should bring it out and get it out on tape and CD.
Yeah, you should.
And we did, So it was a good album. It was a good album. I was proud to be a part of it.
You on the polka loving?
Polka loving gal. Yeah.
Oh, okay. We've got that. We can play some of the cuts out of that. All right. Right now we're going to go back to some music here, and with this got Cleet Gobrish. right, we'll listen to it.
When you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. When you're laughing, the sun comes shining through. But when you're crying, you bring on the rain, so stop your sighing. Be happy again, keep on smiling, 'cause when you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. When you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you. When you're laughing, the sun comes shining through. But when you're crying, you bring on the rain, so stop your sighing. Be happy again, keep on smiling, 'cause when you're smiling, the whole world smiles with you.
Okay. And you know what that was?
When you're smiling.
With Christine Mihalik Hibbs.
That's
Yes. Right, that's one that you were on.
Yeah, that's the latest. That was recorded, I believe, in '94. And it was done at Peppermint Recording, as most of the local bands around here use that studio.
Yeah, quite a few of them do.
Yeah, you know, they have the reputation. They put out a good product.
That's right.
And Gary Ramey, the engineer, has his sort of, he's got his ears tuned to our type of music.
Boy, hasn't he?
It makes life real easy when you go into that studio and everything the first time around.
Yes.
Those are all primarily one-cut tunes, Sal.
Yeah.
Which is, we cut 15 tunes in one workday.
Yeah.
Which is saying a lot for the musicians on the album.
That's right.
The boys were pretty sharp.
Well, when the guys know what they're doing, it's
Well,
good.
we had some rehearsals. We did like the old days, went in the garage.
Yeah.
And we hacked them out and got them down and, you know, did what we had to do and went into the studio and just knocked them out one at a time, and there they went. The old days, I remember Al going back and take 32.
Oh, yeah, and then and then some.
And then some.
That's right, yeah. Well, I had the pleasure of doing one with Pecan, just one. 4 hours, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
For an LP. And then Stan Blout,
Yeah.
we did one 3 hours and 45 minutes. And then we've done them for 18 hours and 20 hours. And
Well, we've done those in Chicago when I was recording with Frank Yankovic. The producer was Danny Davis. You probably heard of his name.
Right.
The Nashville Brass.
yes, right.
And Danny Davis was the producer at Columbia Records. We went in to record with Frank, and, you know, Danny heard things. He said, I want to hear this, I want to hear that, you know, and we didn't stop, take it over. And he was a perfectionist, and there was an album that, I think it was the Around the World album that Frank did
Okay.
back in Chicago. I was on that with a bunch of real talented people Frank used in those days. But the sessions back then were a little different. We were
Yeah.
burning up the midnight oil. It was nothing to be in that studio for 20 hours
That's right.
and then come back and do it again.
And I remember there was one microphone and 5 guys
Well, they
around
were all,
it.
yeah, the technology has definitely improved. You know,
Oh.
they were still using probably they probably had a 16-track machine, you know. And these were records that were going to masters that were coming out on 33 and a third albums, you know.
Yeah.
Before cassettes and before CDs.
But that's the trouble when we were recording in our early days with one microphone. Any one guy made a mistake, cut.
Well, everything was live. You know, they didn't
Yeah.
piece things. They didn't
No.
use, you know.
Well, like today, if you make a mistake, why
just
everybody
cut the
keeps
one-
going and cut the one out,
Right,
and he
cut
goes
the one
back
out,
in,
you
and
go back in and play just that one part over.
that's
and
right.
blend it
That's
in.
right.
see.
That's why you can get done early.
But
Not the
back
old days.
then, everybody just, hey, 1, 2, 3, play, and you know, we had a problem. As a matter of fact, and the banjo player Adolf Pazotic, if you
Yeah, I
recall,
remember Adolf,
working for
right.
Frank. And there was one tune where he just couldn't get this one chord, and everybody was playing the hardest they could and the best they could because they didn't want to keep playing the song over again. And Adolf kept clunking one note, one chord, and every time he did that, stop, start over. The whole band. I must have played that tune 40 times that day.
I bet.
So you know,
I bet.
technology today is a lot better.
You're right. Well, we've got the polka loving gal here, and got a tune here that you're on. It's called the Hoop-de-Doo.
Good tune.
Hoop-dee-doo, hoop-dee-doo. I hear a polka and my troubles are through. Hoop-dee-doo, hoop-dee-dee. This kind of music is like heaven to me. Hoop-dee-doo, hoop-dee-doo. It's got me higher than a kite. Hand me down my soup and fish. I'm gonna get my wish. Hoop-dee-doo in it tonight. When there's a trombone playing, ra-da-da-da-da, I get a thrill. I always will. When there's an old accordion stretching out a mile, I always smile. 'Cause that's my style. When there's a fiddle in the middle and it really is a riddle how they play a tune so sweet. Play a tune so sweet that I could die. Lead me to the floor and hit me up for more 'cause I'm a hoop-dee-dooing kind of gal. When there's a trombone playing, ra-da-da-da-da, I get a thrill. I always will. When there's an old accordion stretching out a mile, I always smile. 'Cause that's my style. When there's a fiddle in the middle and it really is a riddle how to play a tune so sweet. Play a tune so sweet that I could die. Lead me to the floor and hit me up for more 'cause I'm a hoop-dee-dooing kind of gal.
And this is Polka Showcase with your host Almar and Jack Porky Ponikvar, who is sitting across from me over here.
Right
looking
behind
at-
the red microphone.
Right behind a red microphone, you're right. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, when we played with Kramer, you don't just play drums. What else do you play?
Well, I play a little button box.
I know you do.
A few other odds and ends not well. Like a master of all trades. I mean, what was it? Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
But we sort of picked up the button boxes way before the European surge came across, you know,
Right.
between the Slacks and the Ausniks and all those. And there was a store on East 222nd Lakeshore called Demshar's.
Oh yeah.
Music and appliances.
I used to
and whatever.
deliver
And,
records there.
Ralph Demshar was one of the first people who was traveling to Europe, and he was bringing back and importing these
Button boxes.
button boxes. And I'd stop in there, and I'd look at this thing, and I said, geez, you know, I don't know. But back then, they were not as expensive as they are now.
True.
And for some reason, I had the penchant to go get one. And there was no teachers at that time. There were, you know, you were on your own, basically.
Right.
At least I was on my own, other than for what, you know, I've seen guys like Teeny Yuli back in those days, but I never really sat down with them. I took the thing home, locked myself in the house for a couple of days, and was able to get a pretty good feel of how this instrument operated. Basically, like a harmonica with bellows is what the scale is like. It's a diatonic type scale. And it wasn't shortly after that I learned enough that we ended up recording.
Right.
Dick Hokevar and myself on Kramer's record. And again, that was done. I was probably, give or take, 17, 18 years old.
Yeah, that's quite a ways back.
Yeah, it is, since I'm 32.
Yeah, on which side?
Again.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. We have it here. John went in the back room and got
You
it.
get all the dust off of
That
it?
first Kramer record, and this is called Pork and Chops.
Entertaining Geauga, Lake, and eastern Cuyahoga counties. This is 1560.
Polka Showcase with your host, Almar, and Jack Porky Ponikvar.
Glad to be here again, Al.
Well, glad to have you,
We're having
Jack.
sort of fun here. I'm starting to bring back a lot of dusty memories. Yeah, getting the cobwebs cleared out. Yeah, we've had fun over the years, playing in the towns, and I probably travel everywhere you have, and vice versa. It was a good run for its money.
I'll tell you, I think the most fun was up at Sammy's.
Yeah,
in Virginia.
Minnesota was good.
Yeah, that was a great place to play.
Bowling in the hallways of the hotel.
Yeah.
If you remember that.
Well, I'll tell you what, we could write a book about being in that hotel, but I don't think we want to start here.
I don't know if we're allowed in there anymore, Al.
I know
you
we're
hear
not.
these things about all these new rock and roll bands and the trouble they get into now and all this stuff. We weren't any better with the polka music back then, but then again, we were a little younger and wilder.
Yeah, I guess so.
But it was fun. Kramer, Willie Straw, you, me, Dick Hokevar?
Hokevar, yeah.
Yeah, what a traveling quintet that was, huh? It was fun.
That was something else.
Yeah, we didn't know what a clock was.
You're right.
You know, did you sleep today? Huh?
What's that?
What's that? We finish the job and go out the rest of the night.
You're right.
But I remember those 30 below zero days up there, too.
Oh, my God.
It was cold in Minnesota.
Yes, it was.
So, what do you got queued up here, Al?
Well, you had one that you wanted to hear. Yeah.
On the bass?
On that one,
Well,
sure.
we gotta cue that thing up then. Number 4 cut.
Oh, it isn't
side
queued up
1.
yet? Well, what the heck? Well, put it on the start and we'll just let it roll.
Yeah, we'll talk until this thing is ready to go. This is high
close
technology here, boy.
Yeah. You close?
Yeah. I
Well,
think
if you're
we're
close,
there.
why,
This
let
is
it
a
go.
Kenny Bass recording I did years ago with Dick Soja, Bobby Timko, I think Joe Lujar, Dick Fleischman. Tune called Blue Dawn Waltz.
And we're back at Polka Showcase with Almar and Jack Porky Ponikvar.
And I see you're digging through all the albums today, Al.
Well,
I remember you called me and said, geez, who did you record with? I says, how's your collection? I says, probably a little bit of everybody. Here's one we talked about earlier. This was sort of a renewal of the Polka Poppers, and which was Kenny Bass's band in its heydays in the 50s and 60s. And what we did is we reassembled Kenny Bass, but the listeners may or may not, had passed away back in '87, and had his own radio show, and was
right here,
as a matter of fact. A lot of years ago. Yeah. And so that's really interesting because we're back where he did a lot of work, and people in this area probably, those of us that are old enough remember Kenny had a polka show. What we did is we reassembled all the sidemen that had worked with Kenny's band and came off and did a live recording over at Pod Boys, which was a local tavern off the freeway in Euclid, Ohio. It was just a matter of a fun thing, and what we did is we recorded it, and so many people asked for copies of the tape, and we went out and produced them and got them out there, and it was a sellout immediately. Matter of fact, they're still asking, but I just haven't had the ambition to go down and get them all recopied and done again. But here's a tune I'll send out to my wife Judy, my sister-in-law Kathy, and this is sort of the question I asked Judy when I married her: won't you come and dance with me?
Why don't you send this out to Ronnie Bass, too?
And Ronnie Bass, absolutely. And I hope she's listening, because I know she's pretty well a faithful listener of the station.
She is.
And she's in a good reception area.
Right.
Okie doke.
From the polka capital, Cleveland, Ohio, Pod Boys Lounge is proud to present the Polka Poppers live.
Come and dance with me, dance with me, dance with me. Oh, how happy we will be when you dance with me. Round and round the room we'll go, one and all, they will know just how happy we will be when you dance with me.
We even got applause on there, Al.
Yeah, how about that?
How about that?
Yeah, it's wonderful. That was done at Pot Boys,
That
huh?
was done live at Pod Boys. As you know, Pod Boys is no longer, but it's
Right.
kind of a classic now because it was a fun place to be.
That's right. Well, the building's still there, but it's
Yeah,
no
the
longer.
building's there, yeah.
It's not called Pot Boys anymore, is it?
You know, I'm not sure what it's called now. I know it's got a different format. I think they have a blues band in there occasionally. They have a couple country bands occasionally.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't really had the opportunity to stop in because usually when their entertainment's going on, I'm entertaining somewhere else.
Yeah.
You remember how that used to be.
I know how that goes.
So you say, hey, did you hear the new band down the street? No, I'm playing down the other end of the street. I haven't got a chance to get there, you know.
Yep.
But basically, I'm sort of semi-retired. I'm not associated with a band permanently anymore. I'm taking a few jobs for Donnie's band, for Bobby Kravis's, and
Just jobbing around.
just jobbing around for a while and sort of enjoying my weekends, you know.
Well, that's nice.
It is. After all those years, you know, you remember it. I used to be out and take a vacation day during the week so I can go home and cut grass.
Yeah.
And knowing that you're leaving somewhere Friday and you won't be back till Monday or whatever the case may be. You know, we've done a lot of traveling. 94 was the last big travel year for me. I was, like I said, with Donnie Wojtyla. We played Vegas. We were a week in Branson, Missouri. We played Seven Springs that year. And it was hectic. It was really hectic. We did a lot of traveling, and I think I'm going to sit for a while.
Well, I don't blame you. I was doing my traveling too. Now I'm tied up with this, and
Yeah.
my weekends are shot.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, you know how it was to juggle those. We all had, most of the polka musicians always had another day job. It's like, you know, the old slang, hey, you play polkas, don't quit your day job.
You're right.
So, you know, I remember you used to work for GE,
Yeah.
General Electric. You're
Put in 43 years.
43 years at GE, and how many days did you have to take off because you had to play in New York or Gowanda or here or there? And
Well, I fixed up my vacations at that time.
well, that's what I did. I took vacation and went on the road, you know.
Yeah.
And it's hectic, but it was fun. I don't regret any moment I spent on the bandstand, no matter where I was, and including Europe a few times and whatever.
That was good.
It was a fun time.
You're right.
I was over with George Stadahar in Europe. I was with Cecilia Dolgan in Europe.
Oh, did you
back
go
in-
on that ski trip of State
I went
Hours?
3 times to Europe, yeah, back in the early 70s. And, we went on a tour, and the basic thing was that we were there the first time for 31 days, and I started longing for home. 31 days abroad is that's quite a trip.
It's nice to go and nice to come back.
It was nice to come back. I agree. No place like home.
You're right. Well, I got another one here by Donnie Wojtyla, and you're probably familiar with this since you recorded on it, Jolly Lumberjack.
Absolutely.
High on a mountain over the hill, just like a calling of the whippoorwill. Oh, you'll hear the sweet boy calling his mate over the mountain gate. Even though the miles are in between, the message they send is heard, can't be seen. And so many years ago, when lovers were forlorn, the yodel was called.
And we're back here at 1560 WATJ with Polka Showcase with Almar and our guest, Mr. Jack Porky Ponikvar. And you can talk now, Jack.
Well, I've been talking. I'm
That's
sort
all
of
right.
sitting here and reliving all those days that we talked about. I don't want the listeners to think I'm archaically old, which I'm not. I just started young, right, Al?
Well, like the rest of us, started
That's
as
right.
kids.
I just started young. But I see you have queued up on a turntable another off the first album I've ever recorded in my life.
Is that the first one you
That's
ever
the
recorded?
first
Really?
one. Yeah, that was the first album. And then after this one, I got drafted by Frank Yankovic, and we started cutting for Columbia, for RCA, some major labels. And upon my tour with Frank, I got drafted by the Kenny Bass people. We were recording for Roulette, United Artists, basically all the major labels and the major studios, including those that were not so major. You know, we had a couple studios in Pennsylvania. Dana, I believe, was one of them.
Dana, yeah.
And geez, I can't even remember most of them. But there were so many recordings that were made back in the heyday of the polkas and waltzes, and I'd actually like to see the heyday come back. And I don't know what it's going to take. You're going to have to get some polka band on the cutting edge. And as a matter of fact, not to chew up the microphone time, but there was a massive group of articles in Billboard magazine, August 3rd edition. And for those of you out there that are familiar with Billboard, it's the major trade publication for the music business worldwide. It's distributed throughout Hong Kong, Europe, Australia. It's the trade magazine for music, and they dedicated a entire. Matter of fact, Al, you were at that meeting where Jim Bessemer, I believe, was one of the reporters that came and interviewed all the polka folks. And I guess there's a resurgence of the polkas coming back, starting with a lot of Tex-Mex bands and polka bands throughout Texas, Southeast United States. And apparently they're making some ripples where it counts, and that's starting with Billboard and a few others that are saying, hey, this is a real national treasure. Well, it is.
Yeah,
and
this
they're
is something
looking,
Steve Popovic had something to do with that, didn't he?
Exactly. Well, Steve is in the music business, but it's not only Steve. I believe collectively, they're saying that this polka art or polka music or polka forte should not be just disintegrated and buried alive, so to speak. There's still a lot of younger people coming into the business. There's a lot of different forms. There were quotes in there by country stars such as Katie Lang and things that says, if you go to a dance and if you're having fun, you're not having fun until you do the polka. And coming from major stars like that, this is a real interesting bit of resurgence coming back.
Yeah, it's a good uplift.
I think the biggest thing that we have to look forward to is making sure that our younger generation are not embarrassed by going into the same place where the older generation is and sharing a dance floor. But I think that's one of the holdbacks. We have to get the younger people back interested in the polka business.
Well, there's no reason why the youngster can't mix with the oldsters. I mean, a dance is a
sign of the
dance.
times.
I know, a dance is a
though.
dance, though. If you're having a good time, what's the difference?
That's true. I agree. It's the happiest music that I've ever been involved with.
Yep.
And it's a piece of Americana. It's a real good thing.
I wished I was 20 all over again so I could start again.
Yeah. Those of you out there who do have access to get a Billboard magazine, I highly recommend you take a look at it. Those of you that are especially polka people or polka appreciators, if you want to call it that, or still frequent some of the places. And it's a real interesting, very enlightening edition. And
Where'd you get your magazine?
I got my copy up at a bookstore at La Place on Brainerd, on Cedar and Richmond.
Okay.
I can't recall it. I think it's Booker's or something like that. But they carry it, and there's others, other newsstands or magazines. It's a trade publication. It's not really a magazine, but they are available, and it's a good collector copy, basically, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I'd like to see it, since I was at the meeting where this guy was at, and he was asking all these questions. Why, I would like to get a copy of it.
There were several reporters throughout that entire magazine that covered different aspects from throughout the United States with different types of the Polish bands, Northeast Ohio, United States. and, you know, the Southwest and our area people, you know.
Serving you with news and weather every 30 minutes. This is 1560 WATJ in Chardon.
With SRN News, I'm Paul Henderson. The family vacation's over. President Clinton is heading home to the White House. He says he didn't catch any of the GOP convention on television while in Wyoming, but apparently is well aware of Bob Dole's proposal for a 15% tax cut. The president says the Dole tax cut would balloon the deficit, drive interest rates up, and slow down the economy. The president made his comments in his weekly radio address. In a reply, Oklahoma Republican Congressman J.C. Watts defended Dole's tax cut plan and said Americans should be aware of Democratic scare tactics.
Now, make no mistake about this. We will strengthen and preserve Medicare. Despite the shameless scare tactics preying on our senior citizens, Medicare must and will be strengthened.
Watts said the Republican plan includes an increase in spending per patient by 7.1% under Medicare. A third name will be added to the presidential race this weekend. The Reform Party is expected to nominate Ross Perot. With SRN News, I'm Paul Henderson.
Prove it. Ginkai has been repeatedly proven to improve memory and concentration because only Ginkai uses the proven Ginkgo formula LI 1370.
Prove it.
Verified in clinical studies, validated by independent researchers, proven to improve memory and concentration. And that's something to think about.
Prove it.
So when it comes to Ginkgo, think Ginkai from the makers of Kwai. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. Ginkai is not intended to treat or prevent disease. Consult your doctor.
There's a dockside celebration going on right now at Red Lobster. Come and enjoy the biggest harvest of the season and delicious new combinations like our dockside feast.
Wow, that looks delicious.
It's overflowing with lobster tail, sweet snow crab, and a new taste, sizzling roasted shrimp. All of it all together on one.
With the Polka Showcase with Al and Jack Porky Ponikvar. And Jack is not here, so we'll play one of the tunes that he's on, Lollapalooza.
Christine Hibbs and the Don Wojtyla Show Band, the Lollapalooza. It's one of the most recent records that I happen to appear on, and it's probably one. The latest ones are always the best to me. I don't know. I don't know.
Just seems like it.
It seems like it. They were all good through the years, but technology-wise, and us guys have sort of grown up and don't make that many mistakes anymore. It's kind of nice to hear.
That particular tune, that was done by Frankie Kramer a while back. And
that was done on Frank's second album.
Yeah,
I think
his wife was singing it.
Right,
yeah,
right, and it's a heck of a tune.
Good
it really
tune.
is.
Good tune.
And that's another tune that Donnie adopted with Christine and played on most of his jobs, and we just sort of readapted it to that particular style.
Uhr, the signature label, Cleveland album. We did 39 tunes.
Yeah, there was a whole bunch of CDs, I recall.
Yeah, 3 CDs.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, my hands were going to heck, you know.
Yeah.
And we did them, and I told Freddie when we were done, it took us a month. I says, I'm going to have to come back. There's a couple of bad spots that I hit. Well, about a month later, he called me back, and he says, I'm going to the studio if you want to go and fix up your mistakes. I says, yeah. We got there and we started listening. I told the guy, roll the tape back to the beginning, shut all the instruments off but mine. You know how horrible it was? I had to do all 39 tunes over.
No kidding.
My hands just wouldn't work. And that particular
we
day
were
when I
talking.
went back,
See, we were talking about that earlier. About back in the old days, where if you messed up, or one of the guys messed up, or the horn player messed up, everybody has to play it again.
Right.
But with the technology now, you had a chance to get back in there and get it down right, and take your time and not be forced into anything where you were putting 5, 6 other people on the wire.
Right.
So it's good. The recording industry has come a long way.
I had to do all 39 tracks again.
Oh man, that's a hard.
And I
way
was
to go.
lucky that my hands worked halfway decent that day.
Yeah.
Because if you'd have heard the mess, you'd have say, who the hell is that playing guitar? Boy, was that horrible, I'll tell you. I was ashamed of myself, but hey, what are you going to do?
It comes with, well, you know, if you got the problem, like a lot of people, drummers get that carpal tunnel. They get their wrists start getting. That's a lot of years of pounding, a lot of years of strumming.
That's right.
And I'm sure it has repercussions, just like any other jobs where it's physical.
That's right.
You know.
Yeah.
So it's nothing really to be ashamed of, but.
So those were my last recordings.
Yeah. And those were good.
Yeah.
They were good.
I'm still on a couple that's on ice with Walter Stonick.
Yeah.
And when those come out, why, they'll be counted too, but that's it.
That's it,
Yeah, I'm done.
What are you doing other than running this station, Al?
That's enough. Just running this place is enough.
Yeah, it's a beautiful facility. For those people who have not been out or do not know where this place is located, it's a really good setup. You know, I'm reading all these things on the wall. You got an internet address.
Oh yeah.
www.ncweb.com WATJ. And I guess if you punch in your computer, you come up with a polka, right?
Well, yeah. You come up with everybody that's on the air here, all the different programming. You come up with Bruce Totten and his reviews, and he's got pictures. That's nice. We had a guy call or get in touch with us from Texas, who had gone on the web and found us.
Yeah, there's a lot of polka bands coming out in Texas, like I was talking earlier before that news break, and you know, I hope there's a resurgence. I really do. I really think that polka should be, you know, back in the limelight like it was right after World War II. I think when Frank Yankovic made it big with the Million Sellers, just because Blue Skirt Waltz, it brought a spirit to the whole country that. You know, it's just uplifting. It makes your day feel good. And rather than hear us talk, I think we should put some polkas on the air for those people driving out this area that's tuned in.
Well, I'll tell you what. I want to hear you on the button box once again.
Well, that's a waltz. We're gonna put a waltz on.
Yeah, we'll put a waltz on right now. We just finished with a polka.
All right, this is off the first album, man. I was just a young puppy, I guess.
And the name?
I think it's Last Time I Saw Paris.
You and Hokey.
Yes, absolutely. Frankie Kramer Band. Last time I saw Paris.
Yeah,
recorded on Delta International in 1972, maybe, Al?
Well, I can't remember. I'm very bad at dates, I'll tell you.
It was around that time.
It was, huh?
Going back, and
Yeah.
I see there's not that many scratches in that old wax disc.
Yeah.
Hey, what's this? I hear you got some bees on your tower down there.
Well, down here at one of the towers in the shed there, I guess we got a flock of bees. And if anybody knows a beekeeper and wants some bees, well, Mark tells me that they're bees, and Harold was down there, the engineer, and they both said that they're bees. So if anybody's a beekeeper and wants some bees, since there's a shortage of them, get in touch with us here at 286-1560 or 1-800-946-1560.
Or on the web.
Or on the web, right.
On the web.
Right. And if you want bees,
You get some email out there, Al, and say bees, free.
Bees. Yeah.
Freebies.
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 Right.
Only at this station can you get a freebie.
You're right.
WATJ, home of the freebie.
You're right. So if we can get somebody to come out here who wants them, I can take them and...
That's right. Dress up like a queen bee and let them follow you home.
Let them follow you home.
That's all.
Right.
So, at this very moment, I believe it's 2:45 p.m. or 2:45, whichever may come first. And the weather's still nice, Al.
Yep, it is.
And it's polka season every day at WATJ, isn't it?
WATJ.
WATJ.
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting my eye teeth and tongue in front of my eye teeth. I can't
Turn your
see what I'm
glasses
saying.
around.
Yeah. If I take them off, I can't hear.
Yeah, right. Right.
What do you got lined up, Al?
Well, I'll tell you what. Whatever one you want. We have Why Don't You Love Just One Boy with Christine.
That's good.
You like that?
That's going to be, I think the guys are singing on that.
Okay.
Donnie, Danny, and Ronnie, and me, and I don't know who else is on there.
Well, then we'll give it a whirl.
Give it a whirl.
Why don't you love just one boy? Why don't you love just one boy? Why don't you love just one boy? Everybody knows you're a flirt. Now's the time to give me your answer. Now's the time to give me your answer. Now's the time to give me your answer. Tomorrow will be too late. Why don't you love just one boy? Why don't you love just one boy? Why don't you love just one boy? Everybody knows you're a flirt. Now's the time to give me your answer. Now's the time to give me your answer. Now's the time to give me your answer. Tomorrow will be too late.
And
we're
back.
on there.
Yeah, we're back at Polka
Red light
Showcase.
went on, Al. How did that happen?
Well, you throw a switch over here and the red light comes on. Yeah.
Well, we got another one queued up over here on the United Artists label, back from the Kenny Bass days. I think it's, what happened there? That wasn't on the recording. But we got it. It's going to be a tune called Payroll Polka by Kenny Bass, the Polka Poppers. I'd say vintage 1975 or so.
we're back with Polka Showcase with Jack Ponikvar as our host. Porky Ponikvar.
Yes, sir. It's approaching the hour, Al. We only have a few minutes left. We had a caller back, maybe 15 minutes ago. Eric DeBevic, I believe it was.
That's
wanted to hear a little bit of Eddie Rodick.
Right.
And Eddie's a good friend. I played with Eddie's band for several months, a year or so ago. And they have a new album out, but I think we have one of the classics on here.
Right,
Rodick's Polka.
Right.
Let's give the listeners a little polka music if they're flying down Route 90.
Has he got a album out, or is it a cassette?
It's a cassette.
Cassette.
It is
okay.
a cassette.
I have it buried someplace with all my cassettes.
Well, see, those are the new ones, Al. You can't have those buried.
Well, what I try to do is I've got about 150 cassettes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And what I do is open up the bag here and I put one on, play a song, and then I turn it backwards, grab the next one, and I try to go through the list. I don't want to
try and go through them.
Try to play everybody's,
Well, we're approaching about 6 minutes to the hour,
right.
And let's hear a little bit of Eddie Rodick for those people driving down the highway.
And Eric DeBevic.
Thanks for calling in.
Okay, Jack, that was Rodick's Polka.
Eddie Rodick, yeah, real good band. And those are those people driving their cars on 44 or 6 or 90 or any of these routes around here. I hope they weren't speeding. Pretty peppy tune.
Yeah.
Hey, it's about that time, Al. I appreciate very much you inviting me out to spend an hour or so with you.
Well, I'll tell you,
listeners.
Jack, it's been a great pleasure. I enjoyed it.
And
I had a chance to reminisce.
I hope to do it again, yeah.
Good. One of these days we will.
And it's pushing about 2 minutes to the hour. I think you got a pretty good tune, Markic and Zager. Where did I hear that last name, Markic, before?
I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you. I think it's been a real pleasure. And again, I thank you heartily. Heartily,
yeah.
See, I'm telling you, I'm getting old, Al. I can't handle this no more.
Well, we all get old, you know.
And anyway, Let's hear that tune and go out with a blast.
Okay, once again, Jack, thanks. And folks have been listening to the Polka Showcase with Al and Jack here. And we'll see you next Saturday. I'll see you tomorrow. And now stay tuned for Polka Time America with Phil Lipka and what's his name? Ryan Judica.
Your favorite music all day long. 1560 WATJ, Chardon.